So apparently, some marketers are now asking creators to sign deals without even looking at redlining with a red pen. No, this isn't some new weird meditation practice. It is contracting without negotiation. And if you are a creator, this should be setting off alarm bells. A recent Marketing Brew article highlighted a growing trend. Brands starting to flat out forbid redlining the contracts. That means no edits, no pushback, no way to mark up terms that don't reflect what you actually agreed to. Just sign here or walk away. Now, that might sound efficient for brands, but let's talk about the legal and practical reality of it. Because this is more than just paper pushing, it's about power, fairness, and your livelihood. Brands are pouring billions into influencer and creator marketing. And with high volume comes a desire to streamline things, of course. So agencies and brand lawyers are rolling out these no red lines allowed policies. Talent managers reporting that they'll negotiate terms verbally only to get contracts that ignore those verbal agreements. And then when they try to mark up the contract to change it to reflect those agreements, the response is, sorry, we don't accept red lines. That, folks, is the textbook setup for what lawyers call an adhesion contract. Here's the definition. An adhesion contract is a take it or leave it deal drafted entirely by one party, usually the one with more bargaining power, and offered to the weaker party without a real opportunity to negotiate. Think about your cell phone plan or your Apple Music terms of service or maybe a car rental agreement. Those are adhesion contracts. Now, courts don't automatically throw them out, but they do look at them much more carefully, especially if the terms are one-sided or hidden or profoundly unfair. And banning red lines, well, that's the definition, really, of no real negotiation. Redlining isn't just lawyers scribbling on PDFs for the fun of it. It's the formal process of working out the deal, memorializing what was negotiated. It's how you make sure the contract on paper matches the deal you actually agree to. Take away redlining, and suddenly you've got no record of the original offer, the compromises, no check on one sided clauses, no real way to protect yourself from surprise provisions that might be buried in the fine print. And that leads us straight into another legal concept, unconscionability. Unconscionability is when a contract is so unfair that courts will refuse to enforce all or part of it, sometimes the whole thing. It usually comes in two flavors. Procedural unconscionability is where the process of making the deal is unfair, like hiding key terms or refusing negotiations. And substantive unconscionability is where the actual terms themselves are so outrageously one sided. No red line policies really sort of flirt with both of these. So, what happens if creators can't redline? Well, verbal deals won't match the written contracts, and creators may think they own things that they don't, and the fine print says otherwise. Talent managers are already saying this damages relationships with brands. If creators feel tricked, they're not going to come back. Big influencers might have the clout to walk away, but the micro creators, well, they're the ones more likely to be forced to swallow unfair terms. And all the while, brands save a little time and money while creators shoulder the legal risks and the costs if things go wrong. Brands love to justify this as efficiency, but efficiency for one side that strips rights from the other, that's not efficiency, that's exploitation. Let's be blunt here. A contract is supposed to be a meeting of the minds. If one side isn't allowed to speak up or is punished for trying, well, that's not a contract, that's dictatorship. And make no mistake, this short term convenience could backfire. Because if creators keep getting burned, two things are going to happen. They'll start walking away from deals, or worse, we'll see lawsuits testing these contracts on grounds like adhesion and unconscionability. And that's not going to work out well for brands, I promise. So, what should happen instead? Well, we could try using master service agreements where we agree on the core terms once, and then the only thing that changes from deal to deal is the scope of work for each campaign. That could be very efficient and fair. But not every deal is big enough to justify that. Not every deal deserves a 20-page contract. But when it's a higher dollar campaign, sure, it's worth it. Negotiate properly. If certain terms are truly non negotiable, put them right up front in plain English. Don't bury them on page 14 in the boilerplate. And creators, educate yourself about what terms matter most. Things like indemnities, exclusivity, the usage rights, termination, timing of payments is a big one. And honestly, If you don't know what these terms are, well, get some help before you sign. So here's my reaction to all this. Forbidding redlining isn't just bad practice, it is downright corrosive. It undermines trust, risks legal invalidity, and shifts the burden onto the very creators who drive this industry. Contracts aren't meant to be weapons. They're supposed to protect both sides and build real partnerships. If you're a brand, you want loyal, motivated creators who feel respected and honored, right? And if you're a creator, well, you deserve fair treatment and not take it or leave it deals that box you in. So you should resist those. So next time someone says, we don't allow red lines, then say, I think you should say, then you don't allow fairness and I'm not doing it. No thanks. That's the only way we will get this practice to be under control. If more creators start taking a hardline stance against the no redlining policy, eventually brands will come around. That's it for me. I'll see you again in the next video.